I was just minding my own business. But as I was passing by, this lady said this one sentence to me that made me turn around and buy the hand cream. And it was this one sentence. After years in advertising, in marketing, and doing psychology, doing a PhD and all of these things, I tend to believe I know everything about everything. And then this happens to me. And this one sentence, can you guess what it was?
Hi, Vanja.
Hi, nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too. So it's been a while now. I can't remember actually how long since we met the last time. I think was it the autumn 2024?
I want to say it was shorter than that, but the time keeps
No, but
passing.
it's 2026 now, and we didn't meet last autumn. And I think I was in a conference in London, and
Yes,
we met up just before the conference, I think.
that is true.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about how we actually originally met in Dubai, right? And then
Yeah.
it's been a while
Yeah, that
since
was. Yeah, that has been a while since that. That was also a conference. Time flies. So, Vanya, I'm really happy to have you on The Ordinary. So we're semi-remote hiking today. I'm hiking here in the snow in Trondheim, and you, Vanya, you are in Nottingham?
Yes, I am currently sitting at the Castle Marina and in the company of some very loud geese. So I apologize
Yeah,
if you can hear them in the background.
we'll see. We'll hear if they get anywhere near you. But right now it sounds really, really nice. Vanya, on LinkedIn, people know you as Dr. Vanja Ljevar, right?
That's not a bad pronunciation. Yes, that's correct.
You're the co-founder and chief data scientist at Kubik Intelligence.
Yes.
And you have a PhD, bridging computer science and psychology. And you have led over 50 international projects. And you're on the advisory board at the University of Nottingham Business School. I have written this down because it's just to get it right. Kubik works at the intersection of data science and behavioral psychology, what you call data psychology, helping brands understand not just what their customers do, but why.
Yes.
That's pretty impressive. Since we met in Dubai, I followed your profile and your content, and every time I'm like, wow, quite astonished by, I learned so much from your posts. I'm thinking the next time it will be kind of dull, right? But it's not. It's not. But by dull, I mean normal. It's just another post, but it's quality content that you share. So I would like to ask you something about data scientist, because that title gets thrown around a lot. What does the job actually look like day to day, and how did the Eve Klein story inspire Kubik?
That's a very good question. And thank you so much for all the compliments. So, yeah, I mean, I call myself a chief data scientist, but what we effectively do in Kubik Intelligence, we really combine data science and behavioral science, because I feel that focusing too much just on the data can give us some information, but we really want to extract the why and so what behind the data, because so many companies today, they have a lot of data, but without the proper translation and interpretation of insights is just a very expensive noise. So in terms of my job, I would say being a data scientist is a very, very interesting occupation, because you have to wear several hats at the same time. So very often I get asked, is there a difference, a true difference between being a data scientist and, just being a statistician? And I would say yes, because I feel like we know more programming than a normal statistician. And we also need to have the awareness and, so many different skills in terms of, not just data visualization and I don't know, SQL and big data, machine learning and all of that. But at the same time, we really need to understand how to really translate the insights and how to let the data speak, and really not just use a hypothesis to confirm the patterns in the data, but also let the data, reveal some patterns that exist as well. And be very careful, because there is also a lot of ways that data can lie as well. So we really need to be a pretty good critical thinker. And I think among all the other things, that's probably the most important skill for a data scientist.
What is the biggest misconception that companies have when they hire data scientists?
I guess they probably think that data scientists would be able to uncover some insights and, just find the information. But I think data science in today's world has to do so much more, because there's a lot of different biases that we have. I usually say some companies are like three-legged dogs, because, three-legged dogs are just happy to run around. They don't really realize they're missing something. And in the same
Yeah,
way, companies usually sometimes have these cultures, and they have their ways of doing insights and understanding their customers in a particular way for a long time, and it's very
yeah,
difficult to change that sometimes. So just bringing data science into the game doesn't necessarily mean that the culture of the company will change. So I think
yeah,
that probably we one of the biggest, because I think many companies actually, as I said, there's a lot of biases, and they sometimes come from the confirmation bias, thinking that, I have this particular reasoning and understanding of customers and the general strategy for the company, and I want data to confirm that. And I don't think that's necessarily the best way, although I do think that there's experience and intuition really matter in business, of course. But at the same time, I've seen some situations where I worked with companies, where we really challenged some of their most deeply engraved views. And sometimes, when you do that, it's really challenging and difficult. But once people accept and are open to new insights, and they see the value in it, and things change for the better, then that can be really rewarding.
yeah. I, when you said the thing about hiring data scientists and kind of think that now the culture in the company will change. I've seen that myself being hired as a growth hacker, and kind of feeling that, okay, so now everything will change because we have the growth hacker, and nothing else changes, and well, then you get almost nowhere, because nothing will happen, because it's a cultural change in the company or in your team that needs to happen to make that change.
Yeah, I would agree, absolutely. I think one of the sorry,
No, no.
I just wanted to add one of the biggest, I think one of the biggest parts of my work really is to ask really good questions and also find answers to those questions. And to be honest, there have been so many projects that I've witnessed firsthand where we would start doing the work, but the work itself really needs to be meaningful. So there's this famous book, Start with Why, and I would say probably add So What as well, because I think
Yeah,
it's really, really important to ask the right questions. And so many of them start with why.
yeah, I know. And also, one thing that came to mind is that you said also that people have kind of a perception of something, and they want the data to back it up, right? And
Yes.
um, I really fan of, let's collect the data and let's see what the data tells us. Make sense?
Yes, absolutely. I think insights and the nature of insights has really changed, if you ask me, especially because our environment, our habits have really changed, especially with this whole, AI being included in the game.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways that we can actually now not understand customers. There's also different ways to reach them. But I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to what is the goal of all of this, and what is the right question that we're asking. So that really didn't change, even though tech did.
Regarding questions, I have a new question for you. And because I've noticed that you have this concept of a bouncer in the brain that most brand messages never even get through the door. And what does it take to get on the VIP list, so to say?
That is actually the very reason we started a company. So my business partner, Patrick Fagan, and I started Kubik Intelligence with this idea that we really need to have more intuitive targeting. As I
Hmm.
say, there's a the world is changing, and now we are in this reality where hyper personalization for brands has become so important. And not just because we can target people better and sell more, but also because I think it's very important to build better relationships with customers as well. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of research that really supports this. I have one foot in academia, so I think a lot of things that I do are scientifically backed in that way. And I think I read somewhere that we now have at least 5 times more information that we are exposed to daily than we were only 20 years ago. And that means that majority of customers and majority of people actually ignore this information because we simply cannot absorb everything and accept everything in our brain. This is why we
Yeah.
have this idea that there's a bouncer, and what we do is effectively filtering all this information that is not relevant, that is not familiar or appropriate in the moment. And that is the actual role of the bouncer in our brain. So now how do we actually pass the bouncer? Well, one really good way to do that is personalization. And a really cool example of that is if have you ever heard of the cocktail party effect?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but you please explain.
So cocktail party effect really explains this situation where imagine that you were standing at a cocktail party, you're talking to people and there's a lot of noise around you, like there is currently around me with the geese. And when somebody actually says your name or I don't know, your favorite football team or something like that, this information actually cuts through the noise and really you pay attention because it's something so deeply relevant to you. And that's
Yeah.
why when we talk about personalization, we really believe that we can actually create a deeper, better understanding of our customers. And then hence, like, how do we actually communicate to them in a more relevant and a more personalized way? So this is how we started Cubic as a concept, and we call it data psychology.
Wow. Yeah. When you asked me if I knew what it meant, I didn't, but I have, of course, experienced the same thing where you have friends over for dinner and two couples, and of course, you sit on the Atticant side of the one you're talking to, so your conversation is kind of crossing the other conversation, and you haven't heard a thing about what they are talking about. Only, you filter out two other voices and just listen to the one you're actually interested in. So it's, yeah,
Absolutely. And I can actually give you a really good example of that in terms of actual targeting and communication and marketing. So this is my personal story happened a couple of years ago. I was at the airport in Amsterdam and I was not looking for any, I was not doing any shopping. I was not looking to buy anything. And there was a stand with these hand creams. And now I do like hand creams, but I really didn't need one. I was I was just minding my own business. But as I was passing by, this lady said this one sentence to me that made me turn around and buy the hand cream. And it was this one sentence after years in advertising, in marketing, and doing psychology, doing a PhD, and all of these things. I tend to believe I know everything about everything. And then this happens to
yeah,
me. And this one
yeah.
sentence, can you guess what it was?
Buy this.
No, she actually told me, "You've been working so hard, you deserve to treat yourself." And I
Oh,
thought,
yeah.
I really, really do. I felt so deeply seen by this random lady that I actually immediately turned around. And as I say, I do love hand creams. And I was like, I really need to treat myself. So this is
How
the
did
kind
you know?
of communication. really, really, really got to me. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a nice one. You know, I would guess that she's not a psychic. She's just been doing that a lot and
Hmm.
been testing what's the like ABCD testing people and kind of found some some sentences that actually hit home to many people. And but it still feels really personalized because it's something that very many people would relate to. So
Yes.
a bit. I need to start jogging or running again because small set of stairs and I'm like exhausted. Uh, so and had a follow up there. Actually, are we taking painkillers or vitamins here? Like, does the message need to solve an urgent problem to get through?
Um, yes. So I think that is a really good question that somebody once asked me. Are you selling painkillers or vitamins? And so many companies don't really know. Or the worst scenario is they are probably selling painkillers, but they're seen as vitamins simply because they
Yep.
don't communicate the nature of their product or some sort of a deeper motivation. They're not reaching that right part of the brain for customers to really understand that they are solving a specific pain for them. And this is where we actually help, because this is because finding that right formula and understanding which secret buttons to press in people's minds is really, really important for every company. We work with many brands that have sort of deeply psychological products or services. And that means that there's more investment and there's more involvement from customer side. And the way that this works is we basically really help our clients understand not only not only who the right customers are for them, but also how to say no to the wrong people as well, because you're not for everyone. And having that laser focus and reaching the right people is often more rewarding than sort of just, spray and pray and hope
Yeah.
that anybody will buy your product.
Yeah. No, you can't be people pleaser, like trying to please everyone, be everyone's friend, because if you want everyone to like you, nobody will, more or less.
Absolutely. I really love that
Yeah.
quote that says, "When everything is bold, nothing is bold."
Yeah. I'm feeling guilty right now. uh, I remember the first time I got my my bold pen, or you, what is it called, when you highlighter, you highlight things
Yes, yes, that's what I
in a
mean.
book, and suddenly my book was just, it wasn't white and black anymore. It was a bit white, and then almost all was light green, light yellow, and light pink, and light blue, and it was like a coloring book.
I
So
remember that.
it's
That is good.
so you also talk about digital DNA, the idea that our clicks, likes, and purchases reveal our psychology. How does that actually work?
I am very passionate about this topic because this is something that I've been contemplating about for a very long time. And you know how we dress in a certain way, we speak about specific things in order to sort of communicate to other people who we are as people, and, things that we like, even the music that we listen to, all of these things actually carry these secret cues about our psychology and about our inner worlds. So I was
Yeah,
just thinking, well, in that case, our behavior online is not different at all, because the way that the things that we like, things that we talk about on social media, the way that we comment, like, share, even the way that we buy different things and what we buy really speaks volumes about who we are as people. And we call these digital footprints. And yes, they do
yeah,
carry a lot of information about our psychology and data psychology. And this is the discipline that we're really pioneering at Kubik Intelligence, is something that extracts these digital footprints And using data science and different techniques, we analyze them, and then we actually extract psychology and deeper insights about customers, and then turn them into recommendations for the clients. And I think this is really, really a novel approach to the insights. And the best part is it actually works, because we had some very, very exciting projects since we started Kubik 4 years ago. And we had really good results with our work as well. So I think it's very important to treat the way that we behave online as a sort of a as a portal into our mind. So on one side, it's very important to see this as a rich source of data, and on the other hand, also to be understanding and have a deeper understanding that what we do online can reveal a lot about us. So we can be a bit more cautious and mindful about that as well.
I saw this post of yours once. It was something about the Big Five. Is this related to that?
Yes. So as I said, we combine data science and psychology. And when we speak about Big Five, I really love to use it because it's one of the most widely accepted ways of measuring somebody's psychology and personality. So Big Five really is also called Ocean because it represents five basic characteristics that anybody in the world can be ranked on. So there's five basic traits in Big Five. So openness, conscientiousness, extroversion or introversion. We have emotional stability and agreeableness. And everybody in the world is a special unicorn, of course, but everybody is on the spectrum between extremes of these five traits. And the reason why Big Five is so popular, it's because it's so easy to sort of conceptually understand it. And also it's been used a lot in research, especially in psychology. So we know there's a lot of correlations and a lot of links between the way that people behave and what they do and what they like and their personality. So, for example, we know that there's a strong link between extroversion and, liking vibrant colors like blue, green, red, emotionally stable people. Well, actually, neurotic people, I would rather say that neurotic people, which is the opposite to emotionally stable people, they like black and white images. They like Netflix crime shows. We know that people who are open to new experience, they're more likely to vote liberal, and they like conceptual art. So there's a lot of these ways that we can actually use this psychology to then actually create communication and marketing that really resonates deeply with customers. So if we know, for example, that the majority of our target group is agreeable, then we can actually create a message about safety and say, if we're selling a phone, we can say, use this phone to let people know that you care and show people who are hugging, for example, or babies and animals, because yes, scientifically speaking, agreeable people like these kind of images more. So this is what I mean by sort of deeper personalization and then cutting through the noise and passing the bouncer in the brain.
And with that, Vanja, I think we have to wrap up this first part of our two-part episode. If those watching or listening to this really want to hear more, just look out for the next episode. This is the end of this one. Thank you, Vanja.
Thank you.
This is The Ordinary. I'm your host, Odd Morten. Thank you. Bye.